Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Sports. Fun Friday. That's why I got my goofy jacket on. Oh, fuck me.
Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon, the quarterback of my own life, and that's gotta be good enough, Perna. Sometimes you have to admit, as a man, not in the NFL, all you'll ever lead is the clogged toilets to deuces dropped ratio in your own household. That's right, as men, we're just disgusting assembly lines of toxic waste, which is why we have to be so critical of NFL quarterbacks. It makes us feel like we matter. Sure, they play the hardest position in sports with the threat of an Alex Smith caliber injury every time the ball is snapped. But if they play 2 bad games in a row, fuck them, right? Cut or trade them, take all of their money, and give it to the NCAA to keep producing free quarterbacks to help my team. Today is the halfway point, basically, in the NFL season. I want to talk about NFL quarterbacks as some prepare to return from injury. Some have been mentioned in trade scenarios, and some have not played up to par. Baker Mayfield. Plus, NFL news and a little Vikings milestone evening of milestones. Let's get sports. Please, if you don't want the government spying on you, subscribe to this YouTube channel. That's not a guarantee. And here's some free advice. Don't shove just anything into your ear holes. Today's episode is sponsored by the only thing I do shove in my ear holes, Raycon E25 earbuds. The E25 gives you 6 hours of playtime, Bluetooth pairing, and more bass to help with your intense cardio workouts like I do daily, and for your intense dance parties for one parties. My favorite thing, Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds. And they have a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit with options for any ear hole size. Click on my link in the description below or use code TGS15 to get 15% off your order. And I cannot recommend Raycon earbuds enough. They are by far my favorite earbuds I have ever owned. Earbuds, because they're friends for your ears. Real quick, some NFL news I missed yesterday. Michael Bennett was traded from the Patriots to the Cowboys, mostly because Michael Bennett seems to be a bit of a dick. I love him because dicks give me plenty of things to talk about. Albert Breer put it best on Twitter though. Bennett has been traded roughly 3 times in about a year. So Michael Bennett, the official Go Fish of NFL trading. You can ask for trades whenever you want. And like a game of Go Fish, he'll probably be done with your team in about 15 minutes. Now, Kirk Cousins, quarterback we do need to talk about, had an extremely efficient game on Thursday night. 285 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a win over the Redskins Potatoes. Keep in mind, though, this was a primetime game for Kirk. Primetime is basically Cousins' kryptonite. The fact that Kirk's 88.5 completion percentage surpassed Brett Favre for best ever for a Viking is even more impressive than if any other quarterback did that. That was milestone 1 from TNF. Minnesota basically ran the ball for the entire 4th quarter so both teams could go home, which is why at 2 hours and 40 minutes, this was the shortest Thursday night game in NFL history. Milestone 2. Then, Adrian Peterson is now 6th all-time in rushing yards, and Vikings fans didn't even boo him because Minnesotans are classy fucking people. That's my Minnesota accent. Peterson passed Jerome Bettis and LaDainian Tomlinson and said he had a hard time not doing the skull chant. 3rd milestone. 4th milestone is this. Stefon Diggs set the Vikings record for most receiving yards in a 3-game span, surpassing Randy Moss. Wow, that's a what? Surpassing Randy Moss. Ironic, though, that Joe Buck was calling this game after that disgusting act Moss did when he was a Viking.
Green Bay! That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Joe Buck and Minnesota receivers go together. The crazy part is Diggs had exactly 7 catches for 143 yards the last 2 weeks, so I'd say he's the most consistent wideout in the league, maybe NFL history. And after months of digging, After months of Stefon digging, I can confirm Stefon Diggs never dated Case Keenum. I know this was a question you were asking. The game was a reuniting of Diggs with Keenum, most famous for performing the Minneapolis Miracle. Diggs was asked if he would have a moment with Keenum before the game, and Diggs said, "Nah, it's not like it's my girlfriend or nothing." So again, Case Keenum confirmed not Diggs' girlfriend. Okay, yes, this episode is about quarterbacks mostly. Dwayne Haskins came into the game after halftime. I refuse to judge a rookie quarterback, though, playing for a shitty organization who has thrown a total of 22 passes, 4 of which have been interceptions. It is not fair to Dwayne to evaluate him yet, as the only conclusion is very, very bad. So let's give Dwayne some time. Drew Brees may play on Sunday. I don't think he will, because it seems like a great risk with very little reward. I think he might be active Sunday in case of an emergency. Also, the Cardinals are giving up 131 rush yards per game and are tied for the league worst, allowing 10 rushing touchdowns. Teddy Bridgewater can hand off just as good as Drew Brees. Bridgewater and Jacoby Brissett, starting in place of Brees and Luck, are my 2 favorite quarterback stories this season. If you want to feel good about 2 organizations and their future, it's the Saints and Colts, assuming the Saints stop making fun of short people. I can get back on that Saints train, Saints, but stop it. Stop that shit! Do we have official word on Drew Brees yet? Playing. Not playing. Probable. Questionable. Doubtful. There it is, Drew Brees. The first QB I want to give love to is Jacoby Brissett. Brissett has only played 6 games, and he's still just second in the NFL with 14 touchdown passes. Just 3 interceptions as well. That's better than Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, and Deshaun Watson. And he wasn't even their first option to start the year at quarterback. A cool trend in 2019 perpetuated by other guys like Kyle Allen, Gardner Minshew, and most recently, Ryan Tannehill. That's a Ryan Tannehill sign. Now, Brissett has been great, but that is mostly to say I think Frank Reich should win Coach of the Year and possibly some kind of Nobel Prize. Not only has he schemed to make things easy for his quarterback, he could have easily let the team wallow in self-pity when Andrew Luck retired, and instead he's got them in a better position than they were last year at this time in the season. Imagine if this team had hired Josh McDaniels. He probably would have traded Brissett before the season started to a JCPenney for Kyle Orton, assuming that's where Kyle Orton now works. Instead, I like to imagine GM Chris Ballard listening to the Rolling Stones, "You can't always get what you want," every Sunday right before kickoff, probably with Raycon headphones. But sometimes you get what you need, which is Jacoby fucking Brissett. Now, Brissett is not a stat guy. He doesn't give a shit if he's asked to throw the ball 45 times or 20 times in a game. He hasn't thrown more than 1 pick in a game this season, and he has completed over 70% of his passes twice. He's my sleeper QB because nobody really talks about him. But he's consistent every single week, and he may surprise a lot of people in the playoffs if Indy continues winning. Now, Baker Mayfield, how bad is he playing? This tweet by CBS Sports headquarters, HQ if you will, really puts into perspective just how bad Baker has been this season. He has less passing touchdowns than Mason Rudolph. By comparison, Rudolph has only played in roughly 2.5 games with a Wildcat offense, and he nearly died. What's your excuse, Baker? Did you nearly die on the field? Baker has fewer passing yards than Andy Dalton. Baker is actually right in the middle in terms of yards, close to guys like Wentz and Watson. But anytime Andy Dalton beats you at something, you should feel shame and nothing but shame. Baker's 56.6 completion percentage, also worse than Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, who was benched against the Broncos. Baker has a lower QB rating than Josh Allen and leads the league in interceptions. That is ahead of Jameis Winston, who threw 5 picks before their bye week. Also, these stats are from before last Sunday's games. The Browns had a bye, so did the Buccaneers. But these are fair comparisons as they were done before the last slew of games to keep everything even. if that makes sense. Now, you could live with Baker's interceptions if he threw more than 5 touchdown passes this season. Making things worse for Baker is the fact that Nick Chubb has 6 rushing touchdowns through 6 games, which is the best for any Browns player since Leroy Kelly in 1966. Look, I'm not trying to pile on Baker. Unlike many, he does not rub me the wrong way, and I think he will eventually be fine because we witnessed him playing good football last year. Now, everyone yelled about the Browns playing poor competition last season when he looked good. Fair, but anyone high on Josh Allen right now needs to say the same thing. Young quarterbacks, unless they're Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, who can just fucking outrun everybody on the field, need all the help they can get from their line and from their run game, but most importantly, their coaches. Whether it's their offensive coordinator or head coach, they need game plans that fit their skills and level of game understanding. Freddie Kitchens is doing a shitty job with Baker Mayfield. The Browns' offense has a strength, and it is Nick Chubb. My suggestion, Kitchens design a run-first type of attack and just copy exactly what Kyle Shanahan is doing. Give Baker easy 1 or 2 read throws he can make on the play actions, on the naked boots. He has that skill set. Baker has to be more accurate as well. He hasn't been accurate because his footwork went to hell when the Browns decided O-line was not important, which makes the rest of this season gloomy for the Browns. Baker may not rebound until next season, but I don't think he's a bust, and he certainly won't rebound this weekend with the Patriots coming up. On to the Panthers. Panthers quarterback, not Kyle Allen, the one who dresses like the sassiest Golden Girl. Cam Newton is the most fashion-forward name on the trade market right now. 2 weeks ago, Adam Lefko from Bleacher Report suggested the Panthers should stick with Kyle Allen and trade Newton to Denver.
What if Cam Newton was traded to the team that he lost to in the Super Bowl, the Denver Broncos?
Although having the 2 best dressed men in the league on one team in Von Miller and Cam Newton would be enticing, I cannot help but think they would constantly be looking at one another like Mugatu and his assistant in Zoolander. That's an unbreakable sexual tension, and no way anyone can practice with that going on. Now, the trade deadline is coming up quick. Tuesday, to be exact. We've already seen a few deals like Marcus Peters, Jalen Ramsey, Mohamed Sanu, Emmanuel Sanders, Michael Bennett, but I've got one that could be more impactful than all of those. Cam Newton to the Chicago Bears for a 2nd-round pick, which they have 2 of in 2020. Here's why it makes sense for both teams. Kyle Allen has won the last 4 games for Carolina, and there's not a lot of reason to interrupt that this season for a quarterback who hasn't been particularly healthy. The Bears, on the other hand, are 3-3, and while they're still in it, they need to upgrade the quarterback ASAP if they want to compete. Now, they either stay with Trubisky, go back to Chase Daniel, or make a move for a guy that changes how the offense looks. This is a team that was planned to win now, mostly because of the Khalil Mack trade, but also because they got a lot of players that are unrestricted free agents in the next 2 years. And also because Matt Nagy is not an idiot, as he likes to remind us. Cam not only gives them the chance to compete for a wild card this year, but to run it back next year in a conference where you need more offense. If the Lions ever get their shit together this offseason, the Bears could easily become the worst team in the NFC North. If that happens with Cam, at least they will look the best at the bottom. Now, I have no idea how much truth there is to these rumors. I have read about them on the internet, but if Kyle Allen plays well against the 49ers on Sunday, the Panthers may be willing to deal. If they aren't, I have to say that the nickname Riverboat Ron is bullshit and probably refers to the fact that ever since he saw the movie Splash, he's had a weird infatuation with fish, which is why he spends his entire offseason on riverboats. Pat Mahomes is already back at practice just 6 days after dislocating his kneecap. Now, I've never dislocated a kneecap, but I assume it would take me 6 days just to stop crying. Not from the pain, they have drugs for that, but for the fact that my knee tried to leave my fucking body. Now, the Chiefs haven't told Matt Moore whether he'll be starting against Green Bay or not. Then again, after taking 0 reps in the Chiefs offense, Matt Moore played well in his victory over the Broncos. So maybe Andy Reid really is a quarterback whisperer. He knows the best Matt Moore is the one who doesn't practice all week. In this case, less really is more. Matt Moore probably got some reps, as Patrick Mahomes officially will not play this weekend, along with a bunch of other really important Chiefs, just in time for a huge game against the Packers. And that's your episode of That's Good Sports. We did it. Subscribe here on YouTube, please. Come on, guys. Are you subscribing? What do I gotta do around here to get a sub? I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon Perna, and if you wanna follow my writing partner, at WillKey6 on Twitter, you can do that as well.